Coming up on Syracuse Unpeeled,
Orange Pool's dance troupe prepares for their annual showcase.
supermodel Nathan Wexler comes out as transgender.
We give you an inside look of the New York Mets' final spring training workout at the Carrier Dome.
And Post Malone does what he does best, launches a new line of Crocs.
All that and more tonight on Syracuse Unpeeled. What's going on, Unpeelers? It's that wonderful time of the week again. I'm Justin Paura.
I'm Landon Wexler, and yes, it's that wonderful time of the week again. Earlier this week, video resurfaced of Cardi B claiming she would seduce, drug, and rob men to survive before she became famous. These confessions coming from an Instagram live stream the rapper made 3 years ago.
In an Instagram post, Cardi said a part of the hip-hop culture is talking about crimes an artist committed in order for them to get to where they are today. Cardi said she is not proud of what she has done and tries not to glorify crime in her music. She ended the post saying, quote, "I have a past that I can't change. We all do," end quote. Ain't that true?
It is absolutely true. And on to some even more serious news.
That's right. Once again, Jussie Smollett is making headlines. Prosecutors dropped all charges against Smollett earlier this week. His record has been wiped clean from 16 felony accounts of disorderly conduct.
Incredible. Earlier this week, Smollett allegedly staged a crime attack against himself, and his character was dropped from the TV drama Empire. Producers have refused to comment on the status of their previous decision to remove Smollett's character from the show.
The reason behind dropping the charges still has not been released. Regardless, Syracuse Unpeeled will keep you updated as no more news becomes available.
And we're going to shift the gears from television over to radio with some music news. Wow, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice.
Let's toss it over to music news. For over a decade, Justin Bieber has ruled the music scene as America's biggest heartthrob. But on Monday, Bieber announced via Instagram post that he will be taking a break from music. In the post, Bieber wrote that he wants to repair personal deep-rooted issues, focus on marriage, and potentially even start a family.
Bieber has spent most of his teenage life touring, and after his last tour for his album Purpose, Bieber described how he has become unhappy. He ended his post by explaining that while music is still very important to him, nothing comes before family and his health.
Understandably so, now that he's married with Hailey Baldwin, he's got to prioritize family, and crazy he mentioned that he would be possibly starting a family.
Yeah,
but in the meantime, Justin Bieber's been around since you, myself, have been in middle school. The guy's been rocking the game and been a heartthrob of every single female man. Shoot, anyone at this point.
Yeah.
You think it's temporary?
Come on, we all love some Bieber.
Amen.
Yes, of course I think this is temporary. When it all comes down to it, artists make their money from putting out music and going on tour. And I think Bieber will eventually get back into that. Heck, you just saw the Jonas Brothers after, what, a 5-year hiatus? They're back in music now, too.
And I was a sucker for that.
Oh, look at you, baby over here. But, oh my goodness. Like he said, he wants to work on being a father. Yes, he is a recently married man. He wants to protect his new wife, make his life much more sustainable.
Absolutely, and hopefully fans have a lot to look forward to going forward. And also, there's some more news going up. Tell me about it, Justin.
More heartbreaking news. The production company that brought you The Devil Wears Prada, Hidden Figures, The Life of Pi, and so much more is coming to an end. Disney bought Fox 2000 in the major Disney-Fox merger last week, and Disney made the decision simply because they doubled the amount of film labels they own and are, quite frankly, unable to manage them all.
And Fox 2000 is just one of the assets Disney is disbanding. The list will most likely grow as more parts of the deal are revealed. Despite the decision to disband, Disney will still finish producing and releasing the rest of the unit's upcoming films.
And we discussed last week at large how huge that this Disney-Fox merger was. This basically puts so many of Fox's subsidiaries under the Disney name. But one key part in all this, Disney said last week that the head of Fox 2000, Elizabeth Gabler, would have a spot on this new board. But now that position is unavailable. So where is she going to fit now?
I don't know. It's unbelievable. It's upsetting for fans. It's upsetting for Gabler. It's upsetting. It's going to be a lot of moving parts in this transition, but hopefully Disney fans and Fox fans have a lot to look forward to. But films including Life of Pi, Fault in Our Stars, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, all these middle budget films that have made such an impact on the entire globe's movie watching experience, it's going to be something to see the transition.
Well, we know at Disney there's no such thing as middle budget films.
Not a chance. And speaking of Disney, Disney is also not the only company receiving backlash this week. Netflix released a new series that changes the episode order for each user. The anthology Love, Death, and Robots has at least 4 different episode orders that each tell a different story.
Users have accused Netflix of ordering based on users' gender and sexual identity. Netflix released a statement claiming they don't have access to such personal information, and the order is completely random.
This is unique, something we haven't seen in, dare I say, creepy? I don't know how I feel about this.
It's definitely creepy. Do we believe that Netflix is not messing with people with this? Do we believe they really don't have that personal information?
I personally am nervous about it, but Luke Thomas, he tweets that an accusation that Love, Death, and Robots changes based on whether Netflix think you're gay or straight. Whether or not we are, whether or not viewer is, do they have that kind of information? I'm kind of curious about that.
Hey, look at that. Hey, you know that I watch The Bachelor just like most women do, but you know what? That doesn't necessarily say anything about me.
A lot of men do too. We want, come on. Gentlemen, in 2019, we're free to watch that.
Yeah.
Netflix also replies with denials of the accusation. Naturally, I think from a PR perspective, it's probably a good idea they do deny that. But why? What's the proof? What's the proof they do it? What's the proof they don't? It's unique. It's a unique situation.
It's definitely unique. People assumed it was based on watch history. I don't know. It's definitely a sketchy situation. So, as investigative journalists, we went around the CitrusTV studio to see what orders that everyone else had. Take a look.
Drama. I'm drama.
Mostly like dramas, like Breaking Bad is one of my most watched shows, and comedies.
Sonny's Edge. 3 Robots. The Witness. Suits.
Suits. Sucker of Souls. When the Yogurt Took Over.
When the Yogurt Took Over.
See, sci-fi, dramas, Breaking Bad, those kind of shows, they must include their order, and it must indicate what order we take. It's interesting, because I looked at my order, you looked at your order, and we had the exact same order. And I don't know what to make of it. So we also went around the studio to see what, we had 2 people that got different orders, because it doesn't happen too often. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Sci-fi. Probably sci-fi.
I usually watch like sitcom shows or drama.
So, starting with episode 1, we got Beyond the Aquila Rift, The Secret War, Sonny's Edge, whichever, Sucker of Souls.
Sucker of Souls, 3 Robots, Ice Age, The Witness, Suits, When the Yogurt Took Over.
When the Yogurt Took Over.
Obviously, there's a lot of controversy, so we're turning it over to you, Unpeelers. What order did you get?
Well, I don't know, and hopefully the yogurt doesn't take over during the break. Do you think? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think that that's personalized? Maybe not. Let us know on CitrusTV. Let us know on Twitter.
We'll be back on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. You're watching Syracuse Unpeeled.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver. The one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back, Unpeelers. Woodstock is coming back this summer to celebrate its 50th anniversary of the festival. Tickets will go on sale near the end of April, and the festival will be held mid-August. Here to discuss the lineup for Woodstock's number 50, or 50th anniversary is Syracuse Unpeeled's music reporter Liam Crowley. Glad we could clarify it's the 50th anniversary. Yeah,
50th
Woodstock
anniversary.
50. Okay.
Nonetheless, excited to be here to talk all things Woodstock.
All right, well, now that we've figured out that it's the 50th anniversary, go in with a little bit of a brief history of Woodstock. I mean, we have a very young audience, so they don't really understand.
Absolutely. Now, Woodstock, the original Woodstock that took place in 1969, is often regarded as the most famous rock and roll music festival ever. It was the brainchild of 4 young men, all under 27, and Michael Lang, the promoter of this festival, he had experience with another music festival that drew around 25,000 people. Now get this, the original Woodstock drew an audience of over 400,000 people over the course of a 3-day weekend, with many people abandoning their cars that were stuck in traffic to walk the rest of the distance to the venue. It was 1969. The United States was in the midst of the Vietnam War, and we were in the heart of the civil rights movement, and Woodstock promised fans to escape the real world, and as the tagline says, enjoy 3 days of peace and music.
You know what they say, summer of '69. I think my dad mentioned something about that back in the day. But, John, we always expect, when we think of Woodstock, to think of the John Lennon type, the peace festival. Now that it's 2019, what kind of lineup are we expecting now that it's not John Lennon?
Yeah, so we kind of have a different vibe this year with Jay-Z, The Killers, Miley Cyrus, and Imagine Dragons among the top headliners. And this has caused controversy among some fans because the original Woodstock boasted a very indie lineup. Acts like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and John Lennon all declined to perform, and they had to focus more on lesser-known acts, the most famous artist being Jimi Hendrix, of course. And now fans feel that the selected artists don't match the vibe of the original Woodstock, and that's led to some unrest.
All right, so will Woodstock 50s nostalgia lead to some success, or do you think it'll get lost in the shuffle? Yes or no?
Now, it's tough to say. There's so many music festivals this year, but I think it's going to get lost in the shuffle. I don't think that they can replicate that original vibe, and even though there's going to be a lot of nostalgia, I still believe it's going to be a financial success as long as we don't have any involvement from those Fire Festival guys.
No more Fire Festival.
No Ja Rule. Get Ja Rule out of here.
Out of here.
But we don't want to get you out of here, but we kind of got it. So, but thank you so much, Liam. Very much appreciate it. Woodstock can bring the music, but Orange Pulse Dance Troupe can bust the moves. Right now, Orange Pulse is in their last stages of rehearsal before their showcase this weekend. Orange Pulse is Syracuse University's non-audition charity dance group. Syracuse Unpeeled campus beach reporter Kerry McEnany is here to tell us everything we need to know about the show. Kerry, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's an absolute pleasure. Now, because it's the Orange Pulse's event going on this weekend, what can students expect out of the event?
Well, students who are interested in going, and even students who might not even know that the event is going on, should probably know that this is their 16th annual charity showcase. And they are so proud of the fact that they've been able to put this together for 16 seasons now. And they're even more proud that they've been able to put together so many awesome things for this year especially. They'll be performing tap, ballet, jazz, Tahitian, dances that I don't really know, but I'm really excited to go see.
Tahitian sounds exciting.
It sounds incredibly exciting. And they are really proud of this, so they're trying to put together 2 shows. One will be on Friday, March 29th at 7 p.m. and one will be on Saturday, March 30th at 11 a.m. Both shows will be in Shine box office. Shine box offices where you can get the tickets, and they will be $3, and all shows will be at Goldstein Auditorium.
All right, so you mentioned this isn't their first time at the rodeo. What's different this year, though, compared to past years?
So like you said, this is not their first time at the rodeo, not their first time at a dance ball. I don't know, sorry.
Yeah, the tango.
They've done the tango before, they know it.
See, you know.
So what they're doing differently this year is they're partnering with a different organization. They're partnering with the Autism Society of America, and the people I've talked to from Orange Pulse Dance Troupe are really excited to partner with them and see what they can do to give back.
Well, thank you so much, Kerry. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you about this. Coming up, Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey will take a bite into Apple's new streaming service.
Find out more next on Syracuse Unpeeled.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Welcome back, Unpeelers. After spending almost 6 months out of the spotlight, supermodel Nathaniel Wexler has come out as transgender. Wexler has been a runaway star since his debut in 2013. Syracuse Unpeeled fashion reporter Olivia Tamino is here to discuss Wexler's return to the public eye. Olivia, it's been a while. Thank you so much for coming down.
What's happening? Olivia, this is a big, big moment in Nathan's life.
Yes.
What do you think brought him to share this with the public?
So in his interview with CNN, he basically just described how he's had mental health issues his entire life. He struggled with anxiety, depression. He grew up in a very conservative town, so that kind of added to it. And he basically just said last April he hit a wall and he just needed to change something. So he decided to start a transition then. He started taking testosterone 6 months ago. And he's also going to get top surgery in the future. So I think this is a really good move for him. You know, mental health is always the most important thing.
Of course, 110%. It's always the most important thing. But now that he's back in the public eye, what does this mean for his modeling career? Do you think he's going to get back in the industry?
He says right now he's not going to, but in the future he definitely will. When he spoke about it, he actually said something that I found really interesting. He said that a lot of people would think that modeling kind of took a toll on his mental health more, but he said it actually helped him. He said it kind of helped him step away from his problems. It made him feel like he didn't have to deal with them as much. So I thought that was really interesting because usually you see like tragic stories with it like hurting your mental health, and he kind of took that and turned it around. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now that we know that Nathan's fine, what do we think about the fashion industry? Where do you think that's going?
I really think this is going to be a groundbreaking thing because you really, if you ever see any transgender models, they're usually females. They're never really males. So I think this would really open the door for a lot more transgender males. And I know he's going to be making a comeback. He says that all of the big clients that he worked with have been supporting him. They've been reaching out and saying, when you want to come back, you come back. So I definitely think this isn't going to be the last we see of him.
It's awesome to hear.
Absolutely.
Really great
Truly
stuff.
inspiring. Great job. Good stuff, Olivia. And Apple officially announced that they will be launching their own streaming service this fall called Apple TV+. In the press conference held earlier this week, Apple also revealed its premium content will be made by a star-studded lineup of producers including the one, the only Apple. Oprah Winfrey, Sofia Coppola, and Steven Spielberg. Syracuse Unpeeled film reporter Patrick Gunn is here to clear the air regarding the Apple TV Plus rumors. How's it going, Pat?
Good to see you guys. It's good to be here. I'll try to do my best.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you. You always do your best. You give yourself more credit. Yeah. All right. But Apple, they've been talking about engaging in the streaming wars for a while now. Why did they decide to strike now?
Well, the big reason why they're doing this at all is that Apple's got money. They have so much from their landscape, from their grasp on technology, music, phones, computers. They own everything, so they really just have the money. It was really just when, and with Disney launching their streaming service pretty soon, it just seemed like all the perfect timing for them. And with everything coming out right now, everything's really coming up Apple. They have the money to get a Steven Spielberg, a Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, Oprah. Their domination just gives them one step closer to taking over the world.
Great. Apple taking over the world.
Is it great?
Again. I mean, my iPhone, my MacBook. But okay, likelihood of Apple actually being able to take over, clearly there's a bandwagon of streaming services like Disney and Netflix. Is it going to compete?
Well, it's kind of early to say. I think they seriously can compete with them. I mean, the one thing that Netflix doesn't have is they don't have the music or the technology financials pay database that they have. So that's going to give them an advantage. They just really need one major hit. If they can find their Stranger Things, their Marvelous Miss Maisel, their Game of Thrones, they'll be able to compete with Netflix for sure.
They have this new show that's going to be based on a newsroom on Apple TV. That should be interesting to see.
That's going to be very interesting, especially for people like us. Now, one person who has been outspoken about his feelings about Netflix is Steven Spielberg. Did he sign on to this Apple wave just to take shots at Netflix? What's going on with him?
Who knows with Steven Spielberg nowadays? I mean, his films are, but really, he knows the power of streaming and the power. I mean, a bunch of his films, Jaws, for instance, are on Netflix. So he knows the power of getting the reach. He's probably thinking that this is a way for him to expand his reach, get more people to see his work, and get more, and just make some money and make some quality stuff that will probably be released theatrically, because he loves the theatrical experience, remember, right?
A big movie guy. He's a huge director. Everyone loves the theatrics.
Yes.
Absolutely we do. I wonder if it's going to have that same ring to it. You know how people say, like, let's Netflix, not and chill, but like Disney Plus, and I don't know how it's going to ring. But
I'm sure we're going to figure out soon enough. Next, we take you to the New York Mets' final day of spring training right here at the Carrier Dome.
Coming up on Syracuse Unpeeled. All right, good job.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where did cats go on vacation? New York.
Welcome back, Unpeelers. The New York Mets spring training has officially come to a close. Yesterday, the team took to the Carrier Dome for their final workout before the baseball season begins. If you haven't noticed, no more Landon and Wexler here with me. We have Syracuse Unpeeled sports reporter Chris Sacchi, who joined the fans in the festivities. Let's take a look.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets.
Last October, the New York Mets organization changed their AAA team from Las Vegas to right here in Syracuse. And what better way to get fans excited about the new squad than to bring the Major League Mets to a landmark in the 315.
Wow, look at these. These are awesome.
When we got here, we saw the stadium, we felt the energy from the crowd, and we loved it. We loved every second of it, and we definitely enjoyed ourselves out there.
Our fans, our New Yorkers, seeing our players is probably the most special part of it, because there's going to be an energy here, and I think New York fans are going to be here cheering on their team.
That was awesome. Like I said, we didn't know what to expect, so just to see how many people came out, it was definitely a great feeling, and they filled us with a lot of energy, and we felt it.
Moving from Vegas to the Cuse will make travel between the AAA Mets and the Major League Mets much easier. No longer will we have to hear horror stories like what happened here to outfielder Brandon Nimmo.
After the 6-hour flight to Las Vegas, I had a voicemail saying, hey, you're on the 10 o'clock flight and we need you back in New York. So I got right back on another flight, another 6 hours back to New York, and got in at 6 a.m. and played that night. So this is going to be a big change, but a positive change for the guys, being able to be this close to New York.
All the energy and excitement allowed fans and players to forget about the displeasure that a lot of guys had with coming up to Syracuse just 2 days before the start of the season. Noah Syndergaard vocalized his complaints to the media, saying that this is not what championship teams normally do. By the end of the workout, though, he was a happy camper and waved the white flag on his complaints.
That's Noah. He's great. I think that he understands how special this was to all the fans, and he wanted to do something special.
Whatever Noah says, what he said, you could tell out there he was having a good time.
In front of a crowd of 4,296, the Mets and Syndergaard certainly had themselves a good time before the start of their season. From the Carrier Dome, Chris Sacchi, CitrusTV.
From the Carrier Dome to here, we have Chris Sacchi. Now, you did mention some controversy about some of the players making the trip out to Syracuse. What more could you tell us about that?
Well, Justin, imagine this travel schedule. You drive 3 hours across the state of Florida to get to your last spring training game. Then you fly from Sarasota, Florida to Syracuse, New York, which is of course, we all know this is a very long amount of time. And then you're delayed 3 hours on the runway. I think a lot of that had to do with the players not being too happy. Noah Syndergaard, even before all those delays, said that this is not what championship teams do. They don't do all this travel, maybe prioritizing the Syracuse Mets stay in the Dome over getting some rest before opening day. Of course, Syndergaard, there was some controversy with him as well. Wanted a long-term extension for Jacob deGrom. He did that. The Mets did sign Jacob deGrom, so that quelled the tensions a little bit.
All right, well, despite all the gripes, how was the atmosphere in the Dome?
It was fantastic. Mickey Callaway, Mets manager, in his post-game presser, loved the fans giving the energy. Considering that awful travel schedule, the fans giving that energy was fantastic. Kids coming from all the way from school trips. The Syracuse Dome is the mecca around here. And get this, Justin, the first ever baseball event took place at the Dome with that Mets Day. First time baseball's ever been played at the Carrier Dome.
Well, that's fantastic. Chris, thank you so much for that. Coming up, Post Malone is making Crocs. Landon and I are bringing you the weirdest news of the week right after this break. Stay tuned on Syracuse Unpeeled.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Welcome back, Unpeelers. We took the PSAs to find Landon. He's here, and now it's time for our designated weird news.
And just in time, because now we're Justin.
Oh,
now
good
we're going
job.
to talk about the weirdest headlines our writers could find. So we're going to kick it off with Post Malone. Now, have you heard Post Malone? He's collaborating with Kanye West, Justin Bieber, and Sway Lee. But get ready for this most epic collaboration yet. Crocs and Post Malone teamed up together to create a line of the shoes that the rapper is inspiring.
Well, the most shocking part of this is that the most recent restock of these foam clogs sold out in under 10 minutes. The line has two different designs and are going for almost $60 per pair. Now, you mentioned that the Crocs were inspired by Post Malone. The yellow pair of Crocs that you see on the screen behind us, that's inspired by his most recent album, Beer Bongs and Bentleys, and I cannot believe it's doing this well.
Truly, I thought when I was a kid that Crocs were for kids. Beer bongs and Bentleys inspiring my Crocs. I don't know how I'm into it, but I'm curious, how do these sell? How are people buying this?
Maybe it's just because Post Malone has become a star now. He is one of the budding superstars in the music industry, and I think he's probably one album away from being one of the top dogs.
Okay, but I don't care if it's Michael Jackson or anyone else. I'm not buying your Crocs regardless.
All right, you know what? You're a hater then. Whether or not you think Post Crocs are out of this world, there's no denying that this play was. A high school in New Jersey put on a low-budget stage production of the 1979 sci-fi classic Alien.
Short clips and photos from Alien the play spread all over social media. The production was so shockingly impressive that the story was picked up by major news sources all over the country, including New York Times. Now, with North Bergen High School in New Jersey, that's huge publicity for their school, their play. Imagine being a high schooler and you're getting that kind of publicity.
It's honestly outstanding. I mean, this movie Alien had a $10 million budget, and that was back in 1979. Imagine what the budget of that movie would be now. This high school made their costumes and sets from donated materials and recycled garbage. The fact they were able to take that type of direction with it and make national news, that's huge.
That's what I call reducing, reusing, and recycling. Well, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for you on Unpeeled. Let's tune in next week when we have Otto the Orange join us.
For now, I'm Justin Paura.
And I'm Landon Wexler. Have a